You got the stream up?
Yeah, I got the stream up. Hey, it's Saturday afternoon. I'm here with my partners in hosting, SilentAce 221 and Cerv. I am their partner in hosting, Mr. Solution, and this is
Comic Cinema Clash.
Comic Cinema Clash. That's what it is.
God damn it, Cerv.
We're gonna nail it.
I'm trying to match your pace, man.
We're gonna nail it. But we've been going for like 3 weeks, so we're sorry. Life just kept getting in the way of Comic Cinema Clash. But it's a normal Saturday around here now. We can commit to our Comic Cinema Clashing, and here we are. How you gents doing? It's been a while.
I'm doing great. Got a lot to catch up on, right? We got 3 episodes of What If that we missed, and we all made it to the theaters to see Venom.
Yeah, I know, right? And then there's a whole bunch of those just comic-related news that's all abound. How you doing, SilentAce?
Pretty good, man. Like Sir said, a lot of things to talk about. Perfect title for the whole situation. Glad to be back. Excited for a few things and ready to talk about shit.
And it's a Comic Cinema Clash. Word. So let's do it.
Go.
Yeah. So like Cerv said, we all made it to the theaters to see Venom. So we're gonna talk about that today. There were like 3 episodes of What If that we need to cover, and the season finale is a part of that. So we're super excited to cover that. But first, let's get into like the little bits of news that are floating around. One, DC Fandoms today. You guys pointed that out. Like I had no idea. You guys got that on in the background or whatever. So why don't y'all, SilentAce, since you actually brought up DC Fandom today, why don't you go ahead and lead us into that conversation?
Shit, I just found out about DC Fandom today when I was on Facebook. That's why I mentioned it. Just saw a little teaser trailer for Black Adam, and then seeing the Suicide Squad game, which is pretty cool. A couple other things.
It's called Kill the Justice League, by the way.
Yeah, that one. I think I like the format of it, and if it's, I think it's Insomniac that's actually doing it or whatever. But like the Arkansas,
no, it's Rocksteady who did all the Arkham games.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, there you go.
For correcting me on that. There we go. I knew it was one of those 2 fucking ones. So, but yeah, I like the style of game that is. So I'm pretty excited to see it. I can't wait to see if they're gonna pull out the trailer for what is it, Gotham Knights? Correct? Oh,
yeah.
So I'm excited to see if they pull something like that, because that style of game I like. After that, peeping stuff out as we do stream here and there, see what's going to be coming on or whatever. So yeah, we'll stay tuned.
Word. I have not watched. I haven't gone to the DC Fandom link. I just was whatever. But I did watch the Black Adam trailer. I did watch the trailer for Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Okay, so anti-hero movies. Okay, I think they really might be pushing the envelope with Black Adam here.
You know, just like because this is now them doing a few of these, right? It feels like to me that they're afraid to produce the IPs that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Suicide Squad, okay, sure, let's get James Gunn back to do another Suicide Squad. It was fun to watch. It was good.
Right.
We're gonna follow that with Black Adam. Where's some Green Lantern? You know?
Right.
Where's
And
some anything else?
here's my deeper rooted question, especially concerning Black Adam. I know that there's been some moments in comics where Black Adam has had some moments of redemption, right?
Yeah.
And I realized that his backstory is that of the original wielder of the Shazam powers as a hero, right? But the entry point in which the trailer drops us into
Yeah.
really makes it look like they just unleashed evil Black Adam on the world. And what is the point of that? How does that movie end?
It really does make me wonder because for some reason I feel like The Rock does not want to be a villain in a movie, right?
Right.
So I'm hoping that because you know what, they could just have him going around doing bad shit and just being a bad guy, and I'd be perfectly fine with that. But I feel like he's about to Jennifer Lawrence fuck this whole thing up with Mystique. I don't want my character being portrayed as a villain somehow make me into the hero of this movie.
Yeah. I'm like, and how are they gonna, like, okay, there's not too many people in DC that are a worse villain than Black Adam.
True. Very true.
Just like Darkseid and like that's it.
You know what though? If they take some of his more modern comic book stories and make him more of a diplomatic leader than he is just an evil tyrant, you know, I could see that working.
You know, I'm gonna watch it because we do this show.
Yeah.
For the same reason I watched that Venom movie that I knew I wasn't going to like. And we're gonna get into that here in a moment. Another anti-hero movie. Now, okay, see the difference between Venom, excuse me, and Black Adam is that since the 90s, Venom has had a long-standing role as a hero.
Yeah.
Right? For those of you who missed a little inside joke in the movie, he's like, we should be protecting people lethally because his first solo comic was Venom Lethal Protector, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, that was a cute little... Okay, the movie was funny, by the by. Yeah. Like, I laughed out loud the whole damn time, but I'm going to talk about that as well when we get into the movie.
Oh,
but outside of what DC's just been talking about today, either yesterday or this morning, Tom Holland announced that Spider-Man No Way Home will be the end of a franchise. So, you know, that is big news for comic bookdom and movie comic bookdom and, you know, all those things related. So I'm sure we're going to see more Tom Holland in the MCU. I'm sure they're just going to really... Tentatively, I'm sure they plan on stopping to make, you know, Spider-Man movies. I think partly it has to do with the contract with Sony. But I think depending on how sales go, Disney's going to press that envelope and be like, you know what, we're making more Spider-Man movies. We'll work out this deal with Sony, and you know, we'll make it happen.
Right. Oh yeah.
So a while ago, somebody had some like leaked documents from like Sony's headquarters kind of predicting that this was going to happen a few years ago. And what I think that it would be more accurate to what I think is going to happen, because like what the leak said, we'll get our trilogy of movies, you know, kind of introducing him into the MCU. He'll be given the Tony Stark treatment where he's just kind of thrown into other movies, you know, but not the focus of those movies. We'll take a break, and then we'll get a new trilogy, you know, with Tom Holland once he's in college, you know, like once he looks older physically, right? To give us a more aged Peter
I'm
Parker, and
sure.
then they'll be done. And really, that just makes the most sense, right? Not just for Marvel, but for Sony as well. You know, Disney, Sony. Sony definitely came out the winners of whatever this whole contract thing is, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But it would be foolish to think that, you know, this is the end of them making Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland. Like, I'm sure
Right.
he's going to get a few more. It just won't be anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm sure we're going to see a string of movies where he's peppered in, and he's going to have a little bit of backstory about what's going on in his life that he's going to talk about. That, you know, yeah, we might even possibly get him through college and get Peter Parker teaching at NYU. You know, which would really, honestly, if we can get like there in a movie, if we can get to Peter Parker teaching at NYU.
Yeah.
Right? Like, establish Peter Parker doing the Spider-Man thing, working his job every day. Like, that was the best Spider-Man, in my opinion. Right?
Yeah, you know, I don't need a college Peter Parker. I want established, I've been through this shit Peter Parker. And that's something that we've never gotten in the movies. And that's always been my biggest complaint. It's the reason why people love that PlayStation 4 game. Because, you know, he's not new. He's been doing this for 8 years. You know, he's working a job. You know, he's doing this and that. You know, that's what we've known Spider-Man in the comics to be for a long, long time now. You know, that struggling, you know, paycheck to paycheck Peter Parker that we briefly saw with, you know, the Sam Raimi movies, right? And people love that shit. So you know, I don't need Tom Holland to come back anytime soon. After this third movie, I would be happy to see him, you know, give me phase 6 or something, like way down the road, right? I don't need to see him anytime soon.
I agree with that.
I agree with everything you said.
Oh yeah. Because I feel with we ever seen the Spider-Man played through in this scenario in total, what? 9, 12 movies, pretty much seeing him, the whole prospect of this. I mean, we all know, and like you said, Stephen, like the best Spider-Man is when he's seasoned. The best events that happen to him is when he's going through all his life situations and still having to maintain protector of the city, you know, and it becomes more realistic with things, with the Green Goblin, with the Hobgoblin, and with the Sinister. I mean, it goes on and on with that process. And you bring him back in phase 6, 12, 25, whatever, but bring him back down the line where, number one, because if you outplay Spider-Man like they do with the Batman series, you're going to outplay him 100%. You're going to go over that process. They need to bring him back in here. If he's supposed to be the Tony Stark of the Marvel Universe at this point, they need to just bring him back later on.
You know what I think is about to happen, and this is going to be a good segue? Into, you know, the Venom movie. I think that we're about to see Sony kind of fuck up this Spider-Man universe thing the way that Fox kind of fucked the X-Men, because with Venom already being like, oh, this was super mediocre, we're gonna follow it with another mediocre movie as a second movie in this Spider-Man Sony verse thing, right? I think that we will see Tom Holland introduced in those Sony movies when Kraven comes, when Silver Sable, I don't know if they're still doing that one, but all those Sony movies, I think, is where we'll see Tom Holland kind of peek his head in here and there, and then we may not see him in the more Disney movies, right, going forward. I think that's how Sony's going to kind of retake what's theirs, and then we're just hopefully not, but I feel like we're about to see a bunch of crappy Sony Marvel movies.
Well, I just saw they're going to release the what is it? The Spider-Man into Spider-Verse 2 or whatever. Right? They actually came out with an actual title.
Yeah, that's different. That's a damn masterpiece,
right? That's animation. That's not live action. You know, it's not a live action movie. So
for sure.
One, I agree with everything you guys said on, you know, that Tom Holland Spider-Man situation. I believe to bring some balance to it, Sony needs to capitalize off of Tom Holland's Spider-Man that Marvel's built up in a positive way to sell their next round of movies, right? But like you said, this is a great segue into the Venom movie. So I'm going to try to do this with as little spoilers as possible. And I think we're getting pretty good at that, actually.
Yeah.
But I'll start this one off. You know, Venom 1 and 2 were more than lackluster for me, right? And there's a more core reason. There's two core reasons for me that both of those movies were lackluster. One, the anti-hero genre of movies really doesn't work, right? And while Venom has a long-standing history in the comics of being a hero, right? His the type of anti-hero that characters like Venom aren't the same type of anti-heroes like Deadpool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Deadpool's an anarchist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what makes it work. Right? Like Venom, literally the symbiote wants to eat brains.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's really no redemption factor in that. And in the comic, in the long format of the comic, you have the room for growth with Eddie Brock and the symbiote, you know, things like that. The movie doesn't afford that, and it makes it come off as hokey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and honestly, it for sure had some haha moments where, you know, they're kind of like an old couple.
Yeah.
And I guess that works for like Sony's version of Eddie Brock, but like there's a real dependency on each other that the two of them ended up developing in the comics, right? If anybody read any of the King in Black stuff, which is amazing, they really get into that, the need for each other and the reason why other hosts didn't work. You know, there's a reason why Mac Jargon and, you know, all of these other people didn't really work out for Venom, and even Peter, right? They talk about how flawed Peter was and why that didn't work. You know, there really is like a love that you feel reading those comics for each other, where, you know, it's not so much, oh, this is a dope suit, I can use it to get power. It's almost like this addicted drug love.
It's a
where,
symbiotic relationship.
like truly a symbiotic relationship,
Right.
though, you know. And
No pun
for some
intended.
reason, I like
All the
there's
puns
just always
intended.
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, hell yeah. There was just this reason. Like, I think everybody knew that this movie wasn't going to be good. You know, the second that they even announced that they were going to do another one, but it was just this hope in me that maybe somewhere they would go back, look at some source material, and, you know, not even introduce Peter Parker or any of that. They could do a solo Venom movie without Spider-Man stuff. It just has to be done with those big crucial elements, and I feel like they were like, oh, let's try to expand on their relationship with each other, and then just kind of failed at it, like really badly failed at it.
The second core element that I feel ruined this movie is that I feel is actually ruining every comic book movie, right? Is exactly what you were talking about, was the haha moments. The movie was actually incredibly funny. So was Shang-Chi, so was Black Widow, right? So is every comic book movie right now. And the reason is because the producers equate humor in a comic book movie with a successful comic book movie, right? So it's went from levity to straight out a laugh track, you know, just joke after joke after joke after joke after joke in a comic book movie, right? And that is ruining comic book movies. Levity is one thing, but, you know, making sure that the person next to, you know, the main character is comedic relief, that's doing too much.
Yeah, I even said when I went out to go watch the movie, right? Like, I stated that there was more times of that than anything else. Like, throughout that whole movie, I felt they tried to incorporate a lot of the first stuff they did in the first movie, bring it into this one, because they supposedly have some form of success at it. But I felt going into this movie, what for me was like, you got Carnage, Venom. We all know the basic of that whole relation between the two, how it all starts off and everything like that. So I'm expecting it to be a little bit darker. Not like intensely dark or whatever, but like dark enough to the point where it lives up to somewhat of the name of the two characters. I felt like it didn't. I'm coming out as a comic fan, but also as a newbie found movie person who enjoys the cinematic universes in this sense. And I think that's where a lot of it failed. I think a lot of it went through the comics way too many times. Okay, and how can I put this without even like really giving a spoil alert or anything like that? The relationship between Venom, Eddie Brock, and what's her face, that was weird to me in
Kate.
general. Yeah, it was just weird. I didn't get the concept of that, and I wish it just had more of the Venom. Like the fights were good.
Okay, so I did get that though. They're just both in love with Kate.
Yeah,
totally. Honestly, that totally makes sense.
I mean, yeah, well, I guess I could rephrase it as I didn't see the necessity of it personally throughout that movie. Really, it was just played on.
It was to draw to the parallel that they're singular minded.
Right. Yeah. Still
right.
Didn't like it.
Like it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know.
I do gotta agree with you though on the whole, comedic relief thing, and it was actually the thing that scared me the most about them introducing Spider-Man into the MCU, because everybody seems to be throwing around these little quips, and I immediately thought, man, when they do put Spider-Man in, it's gonna make whatever jokes he does have to tell a lot less funny, just because it's so common. You see, like Hank Pym is throwing jokes, like what the fuck? They make Captain America kind of a jokester in his own way. Tony Stark is.
I got that reference.
Yeah, right, exactly.
See what I did there? That was
the word thing. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I know exactly where it's being pulled from. But. And sure enough, it did, because then once Tom Holland's Spider-Man got in there, the few jokes that he's making, I'm like, well, this is kind of what all of them do. There's nothing really special about that. But if you're a longtime Spider-Man fan, the jokes are like a superpower.
Oh yeah, insults to piss off the villains that he's fighting all the damn time.
One of my favorite Spider-Man moments is he's like with magic and they're fighting this big demon, and Peter's just getting his ass beat, just a dog shit beat out of him, bloody, broken bones, and he's just laying on the floor, and this dude's like, you don't have anything against me. Like, me and this army of demons are about to invade. There's nothing else you have left. And he's like, I got one more thing left, and he just webs his pants and pulls it down, and all these demons start laughing. And the distraction fucks up their whole thing, and he's like, ha, see, there we go. Always works. And like straight out, him doing some stupid shit like that kind of helps save the day.
Last problem, major problem, because there was a lot of problems with Venom, but the last major problem, and this is one we all agree with, because we always talk before the show a little bit.
Oh yeah.
The miscast. First, I think I've always thought Tom Hardy was a miscast for Venom or for Eddie Brock. Period.
Yeah.
But why can't I think of his name right now? Woody Harrelson. Yeah. Woody Harrelson is an absolute miscast for Carnage.
And I was opposite of that because, like I said beforehand, like I had some expectations because I knew how good of an actor he was, and he hopefully brought it. But yeah, I agree with you by looking further into it. Like, I don't think they casted that correctly. Definitely not the feel. None of the above. It just didn't really set well as that character, and it didn't play out well.
Yeah, and talk about hurting some feelings with the unpopular opinion, because I'm sure most people that would watch this would probably think that would be our favorite part of the whole thing, and it ruined it for me. Cletus Cassidy is a fucking maniac.
Yeah.
Like let's laugh my head off at me cutting somebody else's head off, and really be uncontrollably laughing at like that's the joke, that's the punchline. And not just Cletus Cassidy was misportrayed, but Carnage himself was misportrayed.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna say this, and you can't do a Carnage movie without it being rated R.
Right.
Going forward, you have to make it rated R. This is a guy who can literally bleed his symbiote out of your eyeballs, right, and create little miniature versions of him.
Yeah.
The fact that like the grossest thing that they showed in the movie was what they showed in the trailer was the weird tongue thing
Yeah, down the throat. Yeah.
You know, like that was like probably the most gruesome thing he did the whole
like
movie.
this dude's
I
getting
was
his
super let
insides
down.
eaten.
Yeah, because like that's Carnage's point. His point is the gore. His point
Right.
is the shock value, right?
Yep,
Like
yep.
for a lot of people, they would say, "Oh, well, you know, they were just trying to tell a story." That's not the point of Carnage, though. The point
Yeah.
is to be blown away with what he can do, right?
I agree.
There was no difference between Riot from the first movie and
True,
Carnage in the second movie. It
Yeah,
was like the
yeah.
same fight.
Mhm.
Same agenda, same, yeah. I mean, not even really agenda, but yeah.
But
same
you know what?
situation.
Overall, I wasn't disappointed in the movie because this is exactly what I expected.
Mm.
I had high hopes for the movie.
I was
I did not.
disappointed because I wanted it to do better.
Yeah.
I knew it would not. Right?
I think we all knew that, right? I don't
Well,
think anybody went into that movie thinking, "Oh, this is about to be amazing."
It's the nature of how the industry works, right? So the first
Yeah.
Venom movie categorically was bad,
Yeah.
right? But it sold so well at the box office. There
Right.
was no way they weren't going to make a Venom 2, no matter what the critics said, no matter what the fans said. The
Yeah.
sales justified another movie. So they
Look,
were
and
going to
Sony-
make one.
And Sony knew this. They've been trying to do this for a while. If you've paid
Yeah.
attention, you know, that's the only reason. Sam Raimi never wrote Venom into that third movie. He was forced to put Venom in that movie
Yep.
because Sony was like, "Yo, this is going to sell. It will sell toys. It will sell merchandise. Just hearing about this character will get people
That's
in
right.
seats."
That's right.
And it was horrible.
I'm sure that was the whole driving point of making both of these movies, right? Because
Absolutely.
the character's popularity, it'll get butts and seats. That's it. And it's just a damn shame. Like, first off, Venom has never really had too many great written he doesn't have a great history of having well-written comics in the first place, right?
Mhm.
Really all the way up until recently. You know, so it's not like they had a giant history of amazing comics to pull from, right? But it was a cash grab. It was just a cash grab.
A fan favorite for sure.
I'll tell you what didn't fail though. And this is another good segue. I'll tell you what didn't suck ass. What If?
Yeah.
Oh, What If was okay. Man, all right. So we've been talking about What If for weeks. Right. And we told you guys that they were going to unify all the storylines at the end of this. And it seemed so impossible. It seemed so impossible when we were saying it. But still, Guardians of the fucking multiverse.
Yo, loved it hard. It was just great.
You know what I love about the Guardians of the Multiverse concept is that DC just tried to do this in their comics, and everybody looked at it like, "Oh, that's kind of lame." And then Marvel's like, "Boom, we're gonna do it," and everybody's like, "Wow, shit!"
Well, hold on. So Marvel already has Guardians of the Multiverse. They're called the Ultimates.
Yeah.
Right. The Ultimates guard the multiverse. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. But you know, to pull off this very fantastic retelling of the very specific MCU events, right? Because that's all they used were MCU events, right? They didn't use anything inside of Marvel Comics. Then to bring us all the way up to a story like Party Thor, which, you know, you're like, okay, this is great and stupid all at the same time. Like in that fight between Thor and Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, like.
Yeah, that was yes.
Yo, that fight.
It was good.
It was really I think that's a good filler episode. You know what I mean? It definitely brought a lot of aspect to that, and it was wonderful. And to get the good comedic laugh, because as we all know, Thor is made for that shit for sure. And
Party Thor was great.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Like, the tattoo.
My mother is coming.
Everybody gives a shit walking away.
brother from another mother. She's not my mother. Like,
Yeah. It was great. And he just had so much right things in that episode to bring it to light. I loved it. It
Yo,
was
and like Loki, man, like the depth of writing in that episode too, to kind of put a sense of, oh, Odin returned the baby. This might have meant peace between Asgard and Jotunheim, and
yeah.
so of course they'd be cool growing up together as kind of best friends, like
yeah.
it's great writing,
No,
even in
it
the
was
joke
really good
episode.
writing.
Yeah,
Even
that was
even when he
great.
was hitting on Jane, or even when he was on the phone with Jane trying to get Jane to bring a friend along, like yo,
Yep. Oh man.
great.
It
The
gave
episode was really good, honestly.
it
They
was.
did really good.
I
Yeah.
think
It
it
was
was
just fun.
great.
It was just fun. It was a departure from what they'd been doing with these
Yeah.
very kind of dreary,
Yeah.
messed up ending episodes. This one was just fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. I
Well, I
think
mean, still the end of this episode was like, what the,
the
because that's
villain
when
was the mom.
Ultron Vision, Infinity Ultron Vision
Oh,
steps
dude.
out of the portal. You're like, what
Yeah.
the hell is happening? And how can you end the episode like that? Like,
I was like, what? And then they came back.
right? And then it was the Ultron Infinity Ultron Vision episode.
He fucking
And
that was awesome.
that was real.
And look, I said that they were gonna do like a 2-part to kind of explain things, and
Yeah.
they kind of did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
did. Yep.
Can we talk about something though, real quick?
Sure.
Please don't say what I'm thinking to say.
The Black Widow in What If, in every episode of What If, why is she so much better than like the actual MCU? Like, you remember after the Black Widow movie came out, we talked about how much that character's disrespected just all over the MCU. What if Black Widow in every universe has been a fucking beast?
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
Fucking totally. Yes, it was
Absolutely.
fantastic. To do her right and give her justice, I can appreciate this.
Can we talk about this though? Where did that Gamora come from?
I can tell you actually, and this is gonna piss people off. What If was supposed to have a 10th episode. So they had COVID complications. They were doing the episode when COVID was, really shutting stuff down, and they had to stop. But what it was supposed to be, because you remember the Tony Stark, in the weird colored armor, the big Hulkbusterish. So that's Sicarian Tony Stark as a sidekick to Gamora. That somehow, so what the episode was supposed to be was, what if when in the first Avengers movie, Tony Stark is falling back after delivering the giant missile.
He doesn't fall back. He goes through the wormhole and he lands in Sakaar.
Yes, which is why his armor is colored and all the Sicarian designs. We just never got that episode. So they said that we'll get that episode in season 2. I was kind of hoping to just see everything move forward completely, but I want to see that episode.
Speaking of season 2, my roommate was like, man, I hope they tie up all these storylines in season 2. And it looks like they are, from the way that season 1 ended. From the way that they threaded off season 1, they're absolutely going to pick up on all those same character storylines in season 2.
Nice.
No, I disagree. I think...
Really?
What?
Yeah. I disagree. I think that they're going to do new stories for the What If, because they kind of sort of wrapped up a decent amount of those stories in these 2 episodes, right?
Yes and no. So if you rewatch the last episode, they set all of them back to the point where they were, which is a
Black
new
Widow.
adventure that's happening right now. Like, so Captain Carter is starting off exactly where Captain America 2 started.
Yeah.
Right? T'Challa Star-Lord is on a completely different track, and that's something we definitely might not see because of Chadwick Boseman's passing, but they might recast his voice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that is definitely an event that is happening right now that they was like, hey, this is where that story is picking up at. Right, they like literally dropped us with him and Peter Quill and Ego. You know what I'm saying? Like who else was there? I don't think they re-referenced Party Thor and where they put him back at.
No.
No.
But they did re-reference. Um,
I know, but wait.
They put the missing Black Widow back in
back
the
in
universe from where Loki's invasion was
what was
happening.
happening.
Yeah,
Right. Exactly.
our time, if you will. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll see. My feeling is that we're gonna get some of those tie-ups in season 2, especially I think Captain Carter. That was like an obvious. Hey, we're about to continue this story.
Yeah.
I
that'd
think
be
it
nice.
would be a very large misstep to at least not do Captain Carter just because of the popularity of her, right? Um, I could kind of just be left up in the air about what happens to everybody else since they kind of dropped them back off at home. You know, I'd be okay if I didn't get continuations of everything, but with Captain Carter being as cool and popular as she was, I think it would just be a hugely missed opportunity to not give her at least some more limelight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think they did that, sort of set it up for the ending of her in a sense with what they found. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping they bring more of her back for sure. And
Like
I think they get their segue in a way.
prospectively, Party Thor storyline wrapped up because Party Thor storyline was
Yeah.
Infinity Vision Ultron, right?
Yeah.
So Party Thor's storyline actually did wrap, right? That was his storyline. Um, T'Challa's storyline didn't wrap. Well, it kind of felt like it did until they dropped him with Peter Quill and Ego. Now
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
picked up again, right? Because they could have ended it at the party, and then that would have been the end of that story. But that's not, you know what I'm saying? They was like, "Yo,
Mhm.
this is what's happening to my dude right now,"
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Thor was in the middle of that Ultron invasion, so if they killed main Ultron, then all the Ultrons is dead. So it was
Yeah.
the situation with the Black Widow in her world, her reality where she was.
Yeah.
Strange is left watching uh both all three the three entities of Ultron, Armin Zola, and freaking
Killmonger.
Killmonger,
Killmonger.
Yeah.
right?
That
So
was interesting. I like
honestly,
that
I
though.
believe we're going to see something come out of that.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
right? So I think the Strange character is massively important to this what if universe that they're building, right?
Mhm.
You know what I'm gonna predict? That if we get more what if, it'll be like the next season will incorporate phase 4 elements because
Mhm.
a lot of those movies will be out
I
by
think
the
the
time.
third season will incorporate Phase 4 elements because they'll be closer
Mm,
to wrap and they'll be able to build up on the entirety of Phase 4 because that's the thing, right? They were
yeah,
only able to do this because they had got through all the way through the Infinity War stuff and they had wrapped up the entire, big bad, and the backstory that was running behind all the movies. They
yeah,
can't
that's a good
just
point.
do a what if in Phase 4 when it ain't
While it's still
wrapped.
going on,
You know what I'm saying? That's not
yeah,
possible.
the timing would definitely be better if they waited for a season 3 for sure.
Yeah.
But there's also not really a shortage of content with how many TV shows that'll be out by then and so
Yeah.
forth. But I do agree it would be smarter to just wait until at least phase 4 is done.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
think so.
Can we talk about a couple of things real quick before I forget? Because
Yeah.
I was sitting there looking at that stuff and watching each scene in each episode, right? And I had a couple of scenes that I like and I want to share.
Mm.
I think one of my all time favorite scenes in the battle of the last season episode was where Zombie Wanda attacked Vision, and the aspect of that battle was pretty like, okay, what's up? That's cool. And they showed how powerful and just relentless she can be as that character right there, which is fun. The other thing was when the Watcher becomes the fucking badass and starts
Super
fighting.
Saiyan Watcher.
Shit, oh my god, that shit was just like, okay, go ahead, motherfucking Rod, get him. It
Yo,
was wonderful. It
and
was
talk
wonderful.
about doing something new because the Watcher has never done that.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the whole.
You have no idea the depths of my resolve. The resolve to get my
Yeah.
ass kicked because he shoved
Yeah.
my ass kicked right after that.
Dude, I loved it that they did that though. That was entertaining as shit. Like It was good. It was good. I enjoyed
You
those
know what
little
else was
marks.
a really good scene though too that really kind of hit me was when Black Widow kind of confronted him and she was like, this is all just BS to you. And like, it really kind of hit him in the heart. Like, no, I love your story. Your stories are everything. I felt like they were kind of like, here's the viewer looking at this from the outside in,
Yeah, yeah,
'cause
yeah,
that's
yeah,
really who he is.
yeah.
Yeah.
The people at home, this is how they feel. These stories are everything. Like, he really felt that for a minute. I really appreciated that scene.
Yeah.
Yo, can we talk about one specific piece of art and what if?
Hmm.
Can we talk about on the Black Widow universe where her and Hawkeye are climbing the tower and he goes to sacrifice himself
Oh,
and
yeah.
Oh
and
God.
they do that pan like this and they do the freeze frame and he's all like, and like, yo,
Yup.
that piece of art was so stunning.
Yeah.
Like,
Good homages
oh
right there.
my God, that was like such a beautiful piece of artwork. And then
It was like
everything that followed was amazing. Like,
it was like a what if miniseries each which way you looked at it. It was wonderful.
God, like that. Oh, that piece of art was so
They're really good at this show is really good at just making those really cool, like one-shotty moments. Like
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
can happen in like 2 seconds. There are a lot of moments like that in this show where you could just straight pause and make it a poster.
Yes, that's
Oh,
why I was
God,
like,
yeah.
that would
It
be
would just
such
make
a
a dope
beautiful
poster.
poster. I like literally had
Yeah.
to pause. I had to go back, pause it. I was like, son, look at this. It's so beautiful. Like the art was just so beautiful. Like, oh my God.
They do a really good job. Like I gotta say, and we've talked about it a bunch on this show before, but like the color palette and just the
Oh,
general
God,
art
yes.
direction of the show overall,
The light and
every
shading.
episode is just so
Dude,
well
it was
done.
wonderful.
The lighting and the shading on this show. For this, all right, for most of it to be CG and cell shaded.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
The lighting and shadows that they work on this show blow your mind.
They're wonderful.
They did good, and really, man, if you have a dope ass TV, which I'm sure most of us do nowadays, right?
I do have a dope ass
Man,
TV.
Same
they
here.
created like the frames per second are really good. The audio's
Oh,
really,
God.
really good for this
Oh,
show. Like
yeah.
just everything was amazing. It makes me sad that it just stopped.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
It makes me
yeah.
sad that well, it didn't just stop. It did wrap up, but
Yeah.
I'm sad that it came in season one. Off
You know what this
topic.
makes me excited
Okay.
for though?
No, what's that?
Or yeah, just before we move on, because Marvel's always kind of had like really assy animated movies. If this is the start of them kind of fixing that,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
all in for it.
Well,
Right?
they got
we'll
Disney
get it.
money now.
Oh, yeah.
good
Got Disney money.
point.
Pocket's a little bigger.
Right. So off topic, still on media, but not necessarily on comic book media, but this is book media. Okay.
Mm.
Are you guys watching Foundation on Apple TV Plus?
I have not.
Not even heard of it.
Oh my God. Yo. So Foundation is based off Isaac Asimov's books, 7 series books of the same name, Foundation.
Mm.
And Foundation is the granddaddy of all science fiction stuff. Star Wars, Planet of the Apes. I don't care. You think about space opera, and Foundation is the grandfather of the genre, right? Apple
Literally
TV
laid the
Plus
foundation.
is destroying Foundation. Foundation is so good right now. Like, they are killing it, destroying it and killing it in a good way, not in a bad way.
This is currently is
is.
it like coming out like right
It is
now?
it's coming out right now. Episode 5 played last night.
Mm.
Foundation is fucking amazing.
They got some
Like,
decent.
I really suggest getting an Apple TV Plus subscription, or you guys coming over here. We can have a watch party. I don't give a shit. But you guys have to watch Foundation.
Okay.
Like,
Well, I love a good space opera, so
It looks good.
it is the best space opera. I don't know why I haven't read these books. I've read a whole bunch of stuff from Isaac Asimov. I've never read Foundation. Yo,
you said there's 7. It sounds really familiar because I remember somebody talking about like just a huge foundation, of just sci-fi books in general. And I could have sworn I had a really in-depth conversation about that a while ago. So this might be a good reminder for me to just kind of dig into that.
This is the book that imagines the space tower, the space elevator, right? You know how right now we're trying to figure out how we make a space elevator to take us up to an orbital station, right?
Oh yeah, because we need it.
This book came up with the concept of the space elevator, right? We don't need a space elevator. You need to watch Foundation, and you'll see why.
Are they going to get into all the whys we shouldn't have one?
There's a big old why we should not have a space elevator. Yo,
I'm just looking at the pictures.
I'm gonna give you a little preview, right? So before the first episode is over, there's a terrorist attack on the space elevator, right?
Of course.
They blow up the top section and they blow up the middle section, right? The damn tower wraps around the planet like a garrote.
Oh shit!
After it explodes.
Oh man.
Right.
We don't need an elevator. We don't need an elevator.
It falls for days.
Jeez. And I mean, an elevator is logical. Like, there's a real need, but I think we would have to be just so much further as a civilization. We got a lot of growing up to do before we could really have something like that, right?
This civilization is super grown. They are intergalactic than a motherfucker. Okay. They are super grown. They're ruled by the Empire. And when I say the Empire, I don't mean the organization. I mean the 3 genetically cloned empires. Right? So there is day, dawn, and dusk. Right? So the Empire the Emperor keeps cloning himself. And there's always 3 of them on the throne. There's a little kid version of him, which is day. There's dawn. There's the, our age version, which is day. And then there's the older version, which is dusk. And they all sit on the throne as Empire.
Okay.
Like, the servants be like, Empire. They'd be like, yes.
Oh, the same time shit?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what, like, as they age, they just make, like, another dawn?
Yep, as they age, they make another dawn. When it's time for Dusk to die, he becomes Brother Darkness because the new baby is Dawn.
Oh, okay.
And everybody moves up. Yo, look, Foundation is so damn good. You guys need to be watching Foundation.
I think I even got a subscription when I first got my iPhone from.
You should have.
Yep, I have to check that shit out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, that's, like I said, off topic because it's not based off any comic books at all.
Still sci-fi.
But yo, man, that show is so good. There's actually a lot of good television on right now that's not related to comic books. A lot. Like Non-Perfect Strangers was excellent. The Only Murderers in the Building is pretty funny. I'm a little lukewarm on it, but it really is funny. That's a strange show. It's a show about people who are crime buffs and they listen to a podcast. Someone is murdered in their building, so they start a podcast about it.
Huh.
Pretty funny.
Okay, that's different.
It's got Steve Martin, Selena Gomez, and Martin Short. Those are the main.
Oh yeah,
that's different.
Yeah, it's super different. It's super different. But I don't know. There's a lot of good television out right now. This season of 911 is excellent. If you guys watch 911, I'm a huge fan. There's a lot of good television on right now.
I'm not a big, I'm not a huge TV watcher, but I am in the middle of DC's Titans.
Okay.
Which my curiosity just scratched me. It's okay.
I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. It's gonna lose me, honestly. I'm in the second season and I feel like it's about to lose me. But my wife turned me on to this show called Sweet Home. Have you heard of that?
No. Yes, I've heard of it. I haven't watched it.
You should check that out.
Okay,
I bet you'll like that a lot.
I'm sure I
Nice.
will because I like most things.
Yeah, it's like 10 episodes. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Anime is in a slump right now. Oh,
I'm rewatching all of Naruto series and shit.
It's
I mean,
okay. 'Cause Disney's about to save you with one. Did you hear about that?
what?
no, Disney's about to put out an anime.
Yeah,
Who?
that's
What?
like
Where?
it's like Disney Plus. They're doing a
Superman
kind
one.
of like crossover anime for their villains,
Oh,
Oh.
where
oh,
like all
wow.
the villains are like.
Hold on. Disney Plus. Did you guys watch Star Wars Visions?
No, not. I
Look, I
saw.
got 2 episodes left.
Yeah.
Man, we could do a whole episode on
So
that.
just Star Wars Visions. Wow.
Can we do an episode on that?
Yeah, let's do it next week.
Yeah. Ace,
Yes.
Ace, do you like Star Wars? Have you ever seen?
Yeah, I like.
Yeah.
Oh, I like. Been watching. I gotta finish him up
Look,
too.
go watch 1 episode of that and tell me you won't watch like 3 more right there.
Yo,
Yeah.
I watched the whole thing. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, Tom, you need to see Star Wars Visions.
Yeah.
That is fire.
Yo, the 9th Jedi though.
Yo, the Ninth Jedi. No, the last
Can that
one.
be a whole series?
The last one.
Okay, I haven't seen. So I'm watching 7 and probably like I'm watching the last 2 like tonight.
Okay, so me and Steven agree with you that the Ninth Jedi needs to be a series. Like,
Yes.
that was the very first thing we said after that episode went off. Was like, yo, can we just get that chick in a series? Like, yo, fire.
Yeah.
That was a fire episode.
Yo, I'm sorry, but as soon as she screamed, the lightsaber color's red, and then just hell, bro, man.
Yo, yo, Star Wars Visions. Yo, that was so
Yes.
good.
We could do that.
Yo,
We could
if
do
I don't
that.
see cosplay of Star Wars Visions characters, I'm gonna lose my shit. I need to see that Umbrella lightsaber as a cosplay.
Yo.
Somebody needs to cosplay her. Like,
Oh my
I need to see it.
god. Oh my god. Look.
Yo, when dude took out the lightsaber, when he was unsheathing it, but he was just igniting the lightsaber. It's just too much. Oh my god.
Yo, Visions is look. You finish it. You start it. We will talk about it next week because we
Yep.
can't do a whole episode on Star Wars Visions. Matter of fact, I
Yep.
will rewatch it.
Hell yeah.
Even the concert episode was dope. Don't the band?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? It's probably my least favorite of them all, but still such an amazing episode, dude. Such an amazing episode.
And honestly, I'll be real. My favorite was Pole and Lop and
I think that's what I'm watching tonight. The bunny.
yeah,
kinda,
yeah.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Okay, so honestly, like from the Ninth Jedi down, they just get more amazing. Like,
Yeah.
that one is really good. The last look, I can't wait for you to watch the last one. The last one is so good.
Yeah, that's
So
gonna have
good.
to be tonight, man. Because like
Yeah,
an
buddy.
Ace, man, I promise you, dude.
Yeah.
You'll love watching that. If you even remotely like Star Wars a little bit, man.
Oh yeah, bro.
Whew, the
Yeah.
twins. I need to see cosplay of the twin. I need to see cosplay. Of
Okay,
every
so
character.
for me, that was my least favorite episode.
It's definitely down there, right? Yeah, you know what? There's pieces of me that really want to agree with you. It just seemed not as well written.
It tried to ride really heavy on a lot of symbolism that they wanted a lot of conjecture for.
Yeah,
And I just really didn't feel exactly what you said. It wasn't very well written.
yeah,
Right. We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
'Cause I got a lot of opinions about a lot of the episodes. Like,
yeah. We
I
definitely
really
need
wanna-
to make that into.
I want to deep delve into all the episodes of Star Wars.
I don't sit down and watch seasons of things again. Like once I've gotten it out the way, I'm done. I'm definitely going back and rewatching all of these episodes.
I'm gonna
Yes.
rewatch them this week for this show. Like,
It's good. It's that good.
if you like dark thrillers, Perfume on Netflix, Tanya Love 81 says, okay. Speaking of things on Netflix, and shows that are good, and I know the whole world's been telling y'all to watch it. So if you ain't watched it yet, shame on you. But Tanya Love 81 told me to watch it like 2 weeks ago, and I watched it the same day. Fucking Squid Games.
Oh yeah, that's on my shit. I got it. I gotta do that.
Yo, Squid Games is fire, fire, fire. So don't bother watching it in English because the dub is horrible. I heard that the sub is actually translated very badly too, and Netflix is going to retranslate it. But Squid Games was phenomenal. Like,
Look, I talked to my wife. So for those of you who don't know, my wife is Korean. And I talked to her about how nuts it is that so much Korean media has just kind of blown the hell up in the United States over these last couple of years. And I asked her opinion on it, and she told me that it's just really weird because this is stuff that everybody made fun of her for. Now everybody's eating Korean food like it's a hipster thing to do, and this is stuff that she got made fun of and bullied, growing up. And I'm like, ain't that the damn truth? I mean, we can all relate to that, right? Because we all love stuff like this.
You know what? I feel bad for that, right? Because I grew up in Hawaii, right? It's actually nothing but Asian people there. So I grew up watching Korean films and dramas and Japanese films and dramas and Chinese films and dramas. That's stuff we can rent in the the video back when we had video stores like Blockbuster and the home. That type of stuff, right?
Isn't it crazy that like that was like such a taboo thing, and now Squid Game is like the most talked about thing on the planet right now, right?
Okay, I think it's weirder that K-pop bands like BTS and Blackpink are huge here than
they didn't go away.
Yeah, then I think that Korean shows are, right? Like I watch international dramas and shows from all places, from Germany, from Japan. It really doesn't matter, right? If it's good, I'll watch it, right? And I appreciate that Netflix has been put in more international stuff on. Like I've been watching a lot of the Nollywood stuff as well, right? A lot of stuff coming out of Nigeria, right? And it's freaking awesome. Like a lot of those Nigerian shows are amazing. Like great stories, great actors, like showing black people living well, really loving the Nollywood stuff, right? But I watch international dramas all the time, so it's not a odd thing for me to be like, yeah, I want to put on Vincenzo or Squid Games or whatever, right? Like I love Korean dramas, always have. But I think it's stranger that like Blackpink and BTS have blown up when you can't even understand what the fuck they're singing about, and they're like international superstars.
Look, and it's the weirdest thing for me because K-pop is a very regular thing in this house, right? Mm-hmm. You walk into Kelvin's house, you're gonna hear it bumping. When I heard about BTS and Blackpink, being a thing out here, I was like, oh, that's just because it is like the Gangnam Style thing, right? Like Psy. People will love Psy for like 1 or 2, years, and then he'll disappear. But they're not disappearing. People really are giving these people love.
People love BTS.
It's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy to me.
Now, okay, same thing with you. Like me and Steven watched a lot of anime. We read a lot of Korean mangas, stuff like that. So we actually engage in a lot of J-pop and J-rap and K-pop and stuff like that, right? That's not abnormal for this house. I think it's just abnormal that those specific groups have blown up as much as they have everywhere. Like, I think that is crazy. Like, I have exposure to listening to like J-pop. I watch anime, like literally the intros and outros to every anime is J-pop. Like can't get around that. You know what I'm saying? So, I've been listening to J-pop my whole life. But, for little white girls in suburbia to embrace, BTS, burn the stage, like
it's just the weirdest thing in the world for me because it really is something, even my wife just being blown away by it because, like she was saying, this is something that they used to make fun of kids for. And, now it's like the most talked about thing. It really is just something. Squid Game for sure. This like upcoming week or something like that, I'm going to have to sit down and.
Squid Games is great. I'm going to tell you, though, the best Korean drama on Netflix right now is Vincenzo.
I haven't heard of it, but I'm sure my wife will know all about it.
Yeah, Vincenzo is the best Korean drama on Netflix right now. It is about a Korean kid who was he was left for adoption by his mom. He was adopted by a Italian family. He was raised in Italy and becomes a concierge for the mob in Italy. He
Ooh,
goes
okay.
back to Korea to try to get this gold out of a building that he helped hide for a Chinese gangster who's now dead. And that's the backdrop for Vincenzo. And
Okay, that sounds really good.
it's really funny. It's got a decent. The action scenes are pretty, actually pretty good. The action scenes, like, it's got good action, it's got good comedy, it's got good romance, like all the things that you might want out of a thing. Vincenzo's got, right? Like, you fall in love with the people that live in the building. You love watching him and the main female character fall in love. Like, everything about Vincenzo's good. And I watch a lot of the Korean dramas on Netflix. Um,
There's a lot of them, man. It still shocks me to this day. Anytime that I'm seeing my wife watch something, I'm like, "Are you watching that on Netflix?" Yeah, like the last 10 I've watched are on Netflix. That's weird because if you've had a history of watching Korean dramas, you know that they ain't on American platform.
that's right,
Yep.
right. You got to go get a DVD or Blu-ray somewhere to watch you a Korean
Yeah,
drama.
you
You know what
gotta
I'm
go look
saying?
for it. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So good for Netflix for embracing
Yeah, nah,
diversity of not
really,
just
really.
Koreans, but like
Yeah,
everywhere, right?
everywhere. Like, look. First, they started off with the Spanish language and the German shows,
Yep.
and I
Yep.
don't know if people really realize, but like Cable Girls was fucking fantastic. Like, that was a great
Mm.
telenovela. Like, I don't care. Okay, so I watch all kind of stuff. I don't really be like, oh, this is for girls and this is for boys. Or,
Right.
I'm not media like that. Cable Girls was an amazing telenovela, and there was a lot of other Spanish language shows that came out around the same time that were also really, really good, right? Then they started bringing out the German series of television shows, right? And then after the German shows, they start bringing out the Chinese shows, right? And yeah, the ones for Finland and Spain came out the same time as the German ones, right? They start
Mhm.
bringing out the Chinese shows, and then they start bringing out the Korean shows. Then they start bringing out the Nigerian shows. So Netflix has really been expanding their international catalog, and this really, really good shows that are coming out from other countries. And I'm suggesting that you give them a watch because they have some really great content and stories. Oh yeah, Dark from Germany. Dark is from Germany, and yeah, Dark is pretty damn good. Like, yeah, like, I don't know. There's a lot of good content out there.
It really does make me wonder how this is going to look 10 years from now because this stuff is being embraced way better than I thought that it would. You know, like it's not like it's some niche thing that like a few people are talking about. Some of these shows with these unknown actors are being like widely praised by like a lot of people. Like they're really blowing up. It really makes me wonder 10 years from now, what is what is cinema in general just going to look like?
Oh
Cinema's
yeah.
gonna fade away. The idea of going to a movie and
Yeah.
Hollywood being in that platform, that's gonna die. We're still
Well,
gonna see
I guess I mean
movies.
in the sense of diversity, right? Is just I'm interested to see how that's going to grow. Um, just because of how things are being embraced just a little bit more than they were before.
Yeah, you know what? The new platforms allow for larger distribution. There's
Yeah.
less money, but there's larger distribution.
Mm,
Right? You have the ability to get your IP, and you can live in Nigeria and get your IP in the hands of Americans.
Mhm.
Right? Where before there
yeah,
was just no distribution channel for that.
wasn't
Right?
possible.
Hollywood wasn't going to take your movie unless you were Slumdog Millionaire, right? And put it on the big screen here in Hollywood. They were going to be like, you keep it in your region where it makes sense, right?
Right.
Where people who understand it are going to enjoy it. And oh yeah, can't forget the Bollywood movies because the Bollywood movies were all over Netflix as
Yeah,
well for a
that's
long
right.
time. Um, so like, these international markets now can get attention of other viewers, and because of things like anime, American viewership has opened up its idea of what's acceptable to watch, right?
Oh
Because
yeah.
same thing you were saying. Your wife was talking about being teased for watching Korean dramas. It's not like we wasn't getting teased for watching anime 10 years ago,
Yeah, it was
Yep.
the same thing. I
right?
remember, I told her the story while we were talking about that. I told her, um, my grandpa's Japanese. He brought a bunch of manga with him anytime he would come out here. And, I had a bunch of them. And I was just always, those weren't things that were sold on bookshelves when I was, real little. You didn't find those in bookstores, everywhere. So, having this little collection that he would just bring me every now and then meant a lot to me. And then one day I walk into Barnes and Nobles and I'm seeing them being sold. I'm like, what?
What?
What's
Right.
going on? So it is refreshing to see more of that diversity being embraced, because that stuff's important, and not just important, for the way that we feel about media, but things like that expand economies for whole countries, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
have big implications behind them.
But yes, no, Americana has softened its stand on embracing foreign, work. They're much more accepting towards it, and because of it, we see this large influx of all kind of media coming from all kind of places.
Yep.
Like the explosion of webtoons, that's largely a Korean media format, right? And now there's a lot of American artists and Spanish artists, and I mean like from Spain. There's a lot of German artists. Now there's a whole international community of comic book tellers, graphic novel artists and storytellers who have gravitated towards what once was a nationally Korean format platform, that expanded out here to the States, and everybody's got a voice on Webtoon, right? Like, YouTube also gives the same type of international voice to people. You know what I mean? Like, we're just getting into a place where the platforms can sustain international content with no problem.
Mm, that's a good thing.
It is a good thing. I like it. But we are at the top of the hour, actually a little bit past it. But I don't feel bad for being past it. We've been going for
Nope.
3 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I miss
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah, man.
But we're hopefully we'll be back on full schedule with very little interruptions from life. We can't promise that because we don't know what life is like every week. But
But
we're hoping for like
we
3 weeks in a row.
we got a couple of backed up topics to talk about, so definitely no shortage of content. We
Oh
still
no.
got to break down Reed Richards' punk ass on this show. um
Yup.
look forward to that as well.
Right.
But next week,
um
I guess we are gonna do Star Wars Visions because wow,
yeah, I'm kind of surprised, like, we never even brought it up, and it's been out for some time, right?
like a
It's
week
kind
and
of
a half.
surprising. Yeah, it's kind of surprising that we never really brought it up with each other, though, so we should definitely do an episode on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree with that. I think it was phenomenal.
Yes.
And you know what? We've been getting an influx of comic book stuff. It's just been coming at us like boom, 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 boom. So,
Oh,
I,
yeah. I don't know. I know not everybody that may watch is huge comic book readers, but
You mute yourself,
you
Cerv.
muted yourself or something.
I don't know if anybody is huge comic book readers, that watches this, but the Immortal Hulk ended this week. Go and check that out.
Oh, I
If
will.
anybody hasn't read that, man, talk about an amazing run on just the Hulk. Al Ewing destroyed that. So
Okay,
good.
okay. Um,
Immortal Hulk.
man, you made me think of something, and then I forgot when you actually brought up the Mortal Hulk. Um, but I don't know, just a lot of comic book stuff be happening, a lot of media stuff around that type of cool stuff that we like. So we'll
Great time
see.
to be doing this
Oh,
show,
I
yeah.
think. Oh yeah, I know. I think Hawkeye comes out next week
Oh no, that's
or the week after, like in 2 weeks.
isn't that Thanksgiving? I think that's Thanksgiving weekend, isn't it?
I don't know. Let's see.
We're gonna have to be ready for that one though too.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have to totally be ready for Hawkeye. Let's see.
Yeah, because the trailer for that looked pretty cool. I'm kind of excited to get me some Kate Bishop.
Oh
Kate Bishop.
yeah.
Mm.
November 24th. Yeah, you're right. So we got some time.
Okay. Yeah, we got a little bit.
We got a little bit. We got a little bit of time on that.
And honestly, that's probably good because we got some back topics to talk about anyways. So
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can.
we do.
Yeah, look. So next week, Star Wars Visions. Week after that, we gotta do this overrated episode of Mr.
Yeah.
Fantastic, Reed Richards, because I hate him.
I hate that we're delaying my hate for him because he really is a piece of crap.
Yeah, I didn't. I was gonna do the episode today, right? But I was like, so much stuff has happened since the last time we was on. Like, if we did not do like What If and Venom, then we was not gonna be relevant on those.
No, I think
Yeah.
this was a lot smarter. We all went to go see the movie for this, so
Yeah.
if it wasn't for this show, I might have just waited for that to hit a streaming platform.
Oh, if it was
yeah.
not for this show, I absolutely would have waited for it to hit a streaming platform.
I'm just happy I only paid $3 for tickets.
Nah, thank you for putting me on the Fandango thing.
Yeah,
I
I've
was
been
like,
buying my tickets from Fandango too, but I didn't even buy my tickets this time. So
Yeah,
There you
I
go.
just bought. I got like this 2 free, just pay the taxes. Got it.
nice. But yeah, you guys, it's been fun. It's always fun. These have been my partners in hosting SilentAce 221 and Cerv. I've been their partner in hosting Mr. Solutions, and this was Comic Cinema.
Comic Cinema Clash.
All right, you guys have a good one. Thanks for joining us on the show.